Look at all the light tractions and high line positioned to its operation surface. It's amazing how it really comes into a realignment, adjustment, position programs. Light signature line in rotations. It's all levels of light, right? And it's gone. You can't see it, right? But you know it's still there. It's still there. It's amazing how it comes in track location. All levels ascending signings, line locations, or some time sequence, line strips, all levels of high rotation. See how you communicate through the setting. It's incredible how you communicate to all formation through its set location, right? So it's pretty powerful when you really understand the provisions, how it changes your lights, your signature patterns, your correlations panels, your travel recognition time sequence. We're going to go into the mind navigation lines, really get into high formation lines of screens. So it's really understanding how to see yourself, not just through the light. The light is projected through the sun. We already know that light condition setting, but moon also has the moonbeam. So that's light track location that the moon has. It has a moonbeam, but it's light track locations. That's where you see the reflection of the water, right? But the center communication, there's no separation. It's the sun and the moon working together. Okay? They work together. Everything works together. Everything's operated together. Everything is male, female. Everything is female, male. Yes, in track location line interference. You can have a position to its all setting line conditions when you come into computers in that line communication setting. So it has a computer operation system. It understands its intelligence. It understands its operation. It understands its sequence, and it understands everything through its applications. So it's amazing when we come to that sublocation of setting. Another, right, how to change the frame lines. Okay, so in track lines and high center interference, positions of programs is really understanding how to get in that sublocation system. So wait 5-10 minutes and get everybody in line setting. All right, so everybody's coming in sequence. So really you have to understand more levels of you. And this is where you have to really understand your dualities, then you have to understand your realities. You have to understand where you need to be is where you are. But where are you? Where are you in the mind? Because the brain has to understand the interpretation. If it doesn't understand the interpretation, it's going to be very confused through its anomalies. You can send a line communication line interference and go this way, or you can go that way. You go up or you go down. But what are you doing in the mind? Where are you in navigation? So it's all about understanding your consoles and your flights, your set position locations into levels. Flight navigation 1, line calculations of 2 settings, put a position location in the center line into line set rotations in Pluto, right? Pluto lines is formation line stream into one line sector of 2 track locations. Setting track lines, equal line correlation setting into an S line rotation. Setting line calculations to infinity 8 line rotation. Track correlations of 2 panels. Line settings, direction time sequence, and all levels of position location to its system of calculation. Okay? So we have to start recognizing ourselves more when it comes into holographic line calculations. So that's why I put up all these TikTok behind videos for you guys to really understand how you can get in that formation locations, how you control the situation, you control the outcome. You control the configurations of light, holds the signals, holds the panels, light directs signal. Your position location is all in high settings when it comes into the inner child. The inner child sets position of track lines in high center interference, right, in position to its location. Okay? So it's really understand how to get into the modification line screen, okay? Because it's all levels of adaptation of surface. Okay? So in the modification stream, in that direct setting, high position location operation surface is really understand how to use the formation location new settings. It's all in position of traction and how we really understand the center line communication to our settings. Okay, there's all signals, put you in a platitude line communication to its operation surface, right? If you get a triangulation reset program, there's a triangulation, right? Set positions of 3-point systems, all right? So that calculates high interference flux path communication, right? Into position of 3-3-3, 3-point systems, okay? track locations, another 3-point systems. Okay. And then you go into another 3-point systems. All right. So you're constantly adding frame, 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 frame. Okay. And then it comes into its location of its pyramid. Okay. Now, once you get in the pyramid, you cross line streams in a film project location settings. And this is where you come into graph locations. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. It's a position operation. Okay. All through 3. So once you understand the indication, you can understand the Fibonacci, sets position of track lines, opens up signals, opens up more panels, correlates the setting of track lines. Now this is where it comes into correlation setting in position to its application of travel. Okay. Travel communications center lines is position of travel communications. Triangulation reset programs into its diamond core and reline position to its operation surface in its application. Okay. So we all have to understand how this works in all line calculations of travel. So everything that you do through your finger point is extremely real. As a voice line, grid line, operation surface, each finger has its own clocking system. Each finger has its own alarm system. Each finger has its own security line defense system. Each finger is position locations of baby, child, teenager, adult. So where is it coming from? Inside you. But the track to its communication setting is its own levels of its own intelligence. So you have to get grounds with that. Yes, it's your hand, but in set position location, it has its own information of its own intelligence. So for me to pick up this and do this in set location system, I have to communicate with my wrist. I have to communicate with my hands, my fingers, and my thumb. And anything that I touch in position of track lines. Now it's a 4-graph line screen into high position location of floater, and it sets position of track line communication. Right? So it's like a waiter or a waitress coming in position location, adding drinks on top. That adds weight. That's add mass. That's a position operation, right? But if you look really close, you actually can see a holographic structure of its design come out in position. Okay, so it's actually there, right? Because it's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. That's the mass. See the light signature going across screen locations? See that? That's a scan. Isn't that amazing? Right? Scanning the graph lines, the streamlines, and high center of interference. See? Triangulation set. See the triangulation? Triangulation there. And let's just change light signals, signal locations of setting track lines. Okay. Now, if you look really close, you can actually see the actual reflections of the drawing, right? But you also can see me on the other side, right, of the frame. See? Hello. How's it going? Right? So it's a reflection, right? But I'm on the other side. There's not two sides of anything. There's only one side that you're on. Okay? So you have to really understand how to use it, position a track line. So it's a reflection of you looking in reflections of yourself. It's that position to its operation. Okay? All right, so there's a lot of signature stream locations and level settings. Level and communication stream and directions. Okay, so once you get into that formation, I really want you to understand how to set these things up through its equation, right? Because things are going to get more complicated, but a lot more fun to understand how to travel through line position locations and create these structures of its design through its holographic locations. Okay? Because that's all you're doing. It's creating, not just what it's already created, but living the now in all line communication to its position of track lines puts you in all formation. Okay? Pyramid, pyramid, pyramid. Okay? But everything works inside line conditions, guys. Everything has to work inside. Okay? Nothing is outline. Okay? If I get a configuration screen line and set lines of high travel and direct signal locations and all levels of adaptation, let's get I and align set locations. There's a signature string, right? Let's say I do this. Okay, now this is overlapping into laser communication, electrical line communication, right? Now, let's say I go off track location and go this way. That's not right, right? So what happens to all the frequency patterns? Calculate line interference. All lines of zeros and 1 lines and all lines of 2 or anything that's in the graph lines of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to your constellation path resets line correlation setting and offline position of traction. Okay? So there's a lot of communication in that settings, but really understand how it releases its position of programs. But there's constellations in 2 path line stream, okay, indirect signal. So you set position to the alpha down, okay? You come into beta, omega, delta, theta, or line communication and vibration of graph lines. Setting wall connectors and line rotation to its settings and track location, the system. Okay, barriers. Triangulation line settings, high line rotation to surface and position location with setting. All levels, a high rotation line set location. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you can do once you understand how to use it through mechanism line calculations of travel. Okay, travels out in line signatures lines of 3, 4, and 5 set location. Okay, so this is amazing when you come into the setting to understand the holographic location of the screen, right? Travel mechanism lines, travels over here in line conditions, get into your moral obviously imagination, the travel locations, sets crosses lines, crosses through into new ground setting locations. Okay, so imagination is everything. And you guys already own that line communications, and then comes into scan line, scans its own set location in its crop circle and set position to its operation. Okay, so if you understand how this all works, then you understand the process, how it connects. Okay, so I really want you guys to just have fun with it. Having fun with these line settings, the screen lines and high center interference, or waving line rotations, electrical cores, and line rotation settings on all position to its wall interference, or wall connect and high center location of all settings is security. We're putting security barriers, wall connectors, line set location. Remember, it's all working with plasma and set position attraction. Okay. So this comes into frame, starting here, and then and out, and okay. So try to understand how this works, right? So it's like flicking pages, right? You're flicking 1,000 pages per line, 1,000 pages per line. So recognition of time sequence. How many line letters are line rotation, position, and track lines are in an ardour location setting in this particular frame position and traction? Right? 3 million signature lines. 3 million signature lines. And you're probably asking me how, because I communicate with its intelligence. So it tells me exactly how many signature lines are in set position to its wires. So if you understand the process of the story frame, you understand how it comes here and then here, does the scan line in high positions, all set locations, track location, around, and through. Okay. So if you understand that, things get a lot more easier for you. Okay. It's so powerful when you really understand redirect signals to this application, your settings and traction. Okay. Okay, so traveling is extremely important, guys. So important, but you do everything inside line. You never do anything outline. The only time you do anything outline is if there's a configuration line of communication of intelligence and wants to stand and set position to its outline communication system and traction. So that means it comes into its own formation location. Say, yeah, I want to go to the line communication outline setting. Okay, there. Is it off balance? No, it's balanced because I communicate with the signature streams, right? So the signature streams are saying, yeah, I want to cross over. How about a weaving line rotation? Or how about a cross stream? Right? Or how about a mechanism lines, the swirl line rotation, setting correlation settings, the high calculation setting, the black clouds and communication, right? Everything's communication, right? So you're always working not just the other line rotations, but you're working all at once in set locations and line signatures. So you actually communicate with it because you brought it to life. So when you bring it to life in position of track lines, it puts you into the alphabetical location setting, that traction. Coming in line calculation setting, one line bar graph, set position drop lines, 2 indicators and high rotation. Okay, signature streams and line settings. Okay, there's your barcode, right? Now, barcode graphs its line settings across the stream location of settings. Okay, so understand what it is through track location to its flux capacitor. Yes, it has a flux capacitor communication to its system. Okay, so mechanism having lines, electrical line communication has its own line wires in line rotation and setting. Okay, has the position of track through its communications at all levels of set position of its operation. Okay, knowing exactly how to use it. Okay, so each barcode has a time lock and 3 line rotations. Travis lines, point system, point system, point system, 3-point line settings, point system, point system, point system. All right, so you're going around the connections, all right, through its clocking locations. All right, very real, isn't it? So in that line communications, you're bringing it in setting, in set location. Okay, you're bringing it in setting, in set location. You're bringing it to life. Okay, so when you bring it to life, it comes in set location line set. This is why I took perspective in all set location. Okay, so the sun comes in, the moon comes in, and protects its image of what it is through its formation. Okay, which is this pyramid. See, pyramid inside, structure inside, pyramid inside. Right, everything's a formation location setting. Okay, even when you coordinate high calculation stream locations and track location. So this is just to remember, in line set locations are where you are through divisions to the main line connections. Now, when you come into correlation high interference of atoms, molecules, because it's my intention. Are these 2 atoms? No. One's an atom, one's a molecule, because that's my influence. That's my intention. That's what it is through its influence. It looks like the same, but it's not. So this is track very high. This is omega. This is track in mediation. Okay, underscore low frequency, but it's very high position. Okay, so understanding position of track lines. This is an atom. This is a molecule. Hello. So it's really directing line calculations, streamlines, and all levels of your intention. So in that point system, try to understand how this works. Okay, is that different intelligence, or are they the same? Well, that has no indication to your setting, only what I say in position. I control what it is, right? So it looks like 2 signature lines are the same, but it's not, right? This is a delta, and this is a theta. Okay? So in that line calculation, this is an atom, this is a proton. Okay? But you see it as the same signature. You can't do that. It's not perceptions in how you see it. It's perceptions in how I see it. Because I'm controlling the graph. I'm controlling the screen. I'm controlling the computer operation. Right? So in that line interference, this atom, okay, is now a photon. Oh, wait a minute. No, let's put it into a neutron. Oh, look at that. Right? That's communication. You have to communicate with your alphabetical settings at A, B, C equals lines of 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, once you understand how to use that, it has a better track location to its image on what you're designing line calculation setting. But you understand why you have the sun and the moon, right? It protects the image of what you're creating, right? The reason why you understand these things is because it's files, and you keep those files in your mainframe. You store it in the library. Okay, equals mainframe. Okay, that's where you keep the position line track lines. So no intelligence can come in. Boom. No intelligence can come in. Okay? Can't come in. Because you have the sun and the moon protecting it through its image. Mega pass. Ooh-ah. All right, so in that track line, in that line rotation interference, once you understand the position of track communications through all line settings, okay, you get into modification. Now it's all levels of position location lines. So you got A, start with B, start with C, start with D, start with E, start with F, start with G, start with H, start with I. So in set location, I don't have to go in line. I don't have to go into formation settings. So is this A? No. But you think it's A. Limited. What is it? Airplane. That's an airplane. You think it's A. It's not A. Just because I put the alphabetical system doesn't mean it's what you think it is. It's what I know it is. It's not about thinking. It's understanding what you're seeing through traction, right? So is that an F? No, that's form. Okay. Is that it? That's an H? No, that's the heart. Okay. Now what is D? Well, it could be anything. Dimension, right? Is that an E? No, eat. Okay. That's I, right? So I could be anything that set locations, right? So you guys have to really get into that because now you're in the emotional lines of your alphabetical setting. Because your atoms are surfacing locations. So let's do this again. A, B, C. And I'll put it in order this time. A, B, C, D, E, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What am I doing with my fingers? What am I doing with my fingers? What am I doing with my fingers? Controlling system at the same time, right? Now, if I communicate line interference, it's offsetting. Got to get balance communication at all levels, set location of setting traction. Your hands are gestures of communication. It's all set line division. Now, if you override line interference in set position location and track lines, it's going to falsity communication, right? So you have to balance yourself inside to understand the balance line calculations outside. So when you communicate the high interference in position location puppets, like that locations, all setting, you put a flashlight to all set locational wall, right? There's a lot of things that you can do in line position and traction, but you got to understand the balance. Balance of 1, balance of 2, balance of 4, balance of 5, balance of 1, balance of 2, balance of 1, balance of 2, balance of 4. Oh, that's not 4, that's 3. Right? Balancing is extremely important, okay, with your finger lines because it digitalized the position and track line. And that's how I'm able to set position location to a space line where basically I'm talking normal. And then as soon as I press the button, right? It's the connection line interference of a finger point system, 1 position, 2 positions, and 3 track location, right? Triangulation of line center high position location operation of 3 sets. So it's about finger pointing and line communication of setting and traction. Okay, setting and traction locations. How you point the system to all levels of electrical board and line rotation at 3 lines of communications or lines of a timestamp position. Okay, so correlates of A, positions of B, C goes into center, D goes into settings, and E goes into track locations and set position, all set position and traction, right? So that's the alphabetical line calculation of timestamp. Now, understanding how to travel through it in line communication is understanding how to set it up in a Fibonacci line connection, right? So your imagination becomes everything formation. Don't limit yourself in anything in position of traction. Okay, pyramid, see? It's a pyramid, right? 1, 2, 3, let's bring it up. You see it? It's there. When I let it go, it went back in, right? So it's amazing how you can bring pop-ups of anything in communications, bring it to life in set position, right? So that's the connections that you have to really understand the volume. Now, understanding volume gets you a better understanding how to track this location center. Get a 1 signature pattern, okay, 2 operations, and 3 calculation, okay? So that's 2 over track in position and 3 underscore line rotation, right? So that's underscore, and this is 2 over lines, okay? So understanding the indication all level settings, in its operation of magnetic highway information line cycle, calculation of stream location. Okay? So I'm just showing you how you guys can use fluctuation line settings of streams in your alphabetical line communication substructural design. Okay? How to really understand the positive and negative, the odd and the even. Okay, you have to understand these things because your atom is trying to understand all set location, not just the motion line interference, not just the wave communication, but its harmonics. One communicates with one, right? Two communicates with one. Three does a Fibonacci line swirl and communicates with both in position. Okay. 4 decides to go crossing line stream in line calculation setting to the moon in set position. Communicates with 1. Okay. Do you see what I'm doing here? Do you see how you set up a story frame in all line positions, all calculations? Okay. Your chakras are ready for you now because your connections, your atoms are going so fast in line adaptation, especially with the clock lines. Now, the clock line communication settings, all lines of 24. 48 in line calculation, 72 on a weighting signal. Position of track lines into 144 graph location and settings. Setting lines of 24 into 1300 in locations equal to lines of 1% in 1 metric meter, 1 p.m. Okay, so that's the track locations where you guys are, right? You're only at 13 at 24 clocking. You have to learn how to go through the center position to its operational line setting location of setting all levels of its location. Once you get into that, then you come into the graph line calculation stream of a walkway surface and line calculation setting to a location grid in line position of travel and line calculation setting all levels of rotation in position location at 24 line streams location of calculation. Okay? Face recognition, face recognition. All right? And so clocking is extremely important, and you understand that. Right? It gives you in a better track location of settings, especially when you come into all line positions. So start with the A, B's, and C's. Okay, and 1, 2s, and 3s. Start with your letters, shapes, symbols, and numbers. Okay, so how to get a letter communications communicate with all levels of C. Now C basically wants to communicate with its number and set its interaction. A wants to connect with 1. B wants to connect with 2, and position locations, all levels. Symbols want to communicate with 3. Okay, center correlation setting track line. There's a set line calculation setting. There's your heart. Boom. That's your heart. Ventricle valves are 3-line set location line settings, guys. How the alphabetical setting of 1, 2, and 3 of letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols creates its heart, a 3 valves communication. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So 1 million graphs, line seconds per line, 2 million graphs per second per frame, and 3 million line cycles per second per frame. All calculations of 1, 2, and 3. So when your heart is beating, you have to know how fast it's going. And the only way to understand that is the ventricular valves of position locations and line set location at 3, which is what? Your position to your setting. So what is your heart coming into? A tree formation to a set location. Mega multipass. Okay, so you got the roots and travel line positions of 3 line calculations. Okay, but it's amazing how you come into that setting, guys. How it creates its own system to its location of its intelligence, all through letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols, through A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is more level of a memory to your position at track lines. How you can travel through anything through affirmation locations, but you have to do it through dualities. And I keep saying this, what reality do you want to live in? Set position locations. 2 track lines. Okay, here's a house. That's a house, right? Okay, set position. This is a house. And set locations. Now, really understand how this is all set up in your track lines and high line rotation to its surface. High levels of its line communication to its settings. All levels of adaptation of center line and communication of travels and calculation of position location to its operation surface. It's amazing how it comes in all track to its communication system and travel recognition of time sequence. In all position line calculation settings. Okay, see the difference? Platform, that's just a house. Basic ground lines, that's a physical line, that's a holographic line. Okay? So if you understand position of track lines, you understand what the pyramid is. You have to understand what the Merkaba is. You have to understand the triangulation line calculation setting when it comes to all set position to its operation. That's that location. Sets position to its set line setting. So you sit in the platform of the communication. This is you. Inside. Okay. So understand the 3-point systems. Right? Then you understand the set location line settings into your tesseract, your tetrahedron, or inline communication of travel. Okay? And then you travel through it. Travel through line grounds. You need the grounds because the ground is all in communication in your system because it's connected to your earth, guys. So understand that position of track lines, then you understand the travels. Travel position line connecting high center into your pyramid line rotation and travel calculation. Look at that. Right? Sets position locations, all level settings. What does it look like? Question is, where am I in set position attraction? Japan. See? See how it sets position line calculation setting? When you come into swirls, line rotations to an umbrella. It's amazing. Common locations. Right? Setting track lines. I'm in the water. Okay? So really understand how this all works. The information line cycles becomes extremely real to its set location of set lines. So really understand is you're putting it all together, right? So once you understand the main frame, then you understand the structure of its design. Here's a mountain. Here's the sun. Okay. There's the mountain. There's the sun, right? Then you got a graph line. Okay. And set location. All right. See how it comes to the settings. And then you have the set locations coming bigger, 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 bigger. All right. Then you go into the security line. See, it's good to get in perspective because you get a better angle, how you see everything all around and all calculation lines of seconds, minutes, and hours all at once in set position of travel and position calculation. That's how you see everything, right? All at once through its position of its intelligence, through its line calculation of its pi. Okay. Pyramid here. Well, let's move it over here. Right? So the pyramid was there. Now it's over here. Right? So I turn the mountain into a pyramid back into the mountain, set location and setting. Right? There's the pyramid. So I change the mountain into another pyramid. These are the things that you can add frames to, right? 2 pyramids. Oh, look at that. So in line calculation setting, let's go into higher line position travels. Okay. Set position, set position, set position, set position. Okay. See how it changes line communication? So directing communication line settings is really powerful stuff when you come at that location, right? There's another pyramid set location line setting and travel. Okay. Another platform formation line calculation of change settings, right? Platform communication of wall set location. Setting graph lines, electrical line walls, and line rotations of 2 panels, position of 4 set locations. Graph communication lines of a Stargate. See how I changed the actual design quickly and fast in line calculation setting, where it becomes a Stargate portal to travel through line setting location of all levels of metric screens and high calculation of cosmic universal line position at all settings into your unification line rotation. Boom. You see how you change frame? Right? Now, this is the same day. You're just adding frame. You're changing the frame, changing the structure, changing the design, but in the same day. Okay? You come into Fibonacci, you create a tunnel, line, position, location, and travel lines, and set position to its operation. Oh, you got a tunnel now, right? And you are standing into the center of operation. That's you. Boom. Okay? See how I changed it? You see the whole process here? So understanding that is understanding the files of you and how this all works through provision, right? It's really understand how to connect to all files in the same setting and all track locations of travel. Okay? And again, you can change the setting. There's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. You can change the setting in all track location. Right? Change the setting. See what I'm doing? Changing the setting, changing the frame, change the position. Okay? So it's incredible when you do these things, guys. See how I changed the graph lines of the grounds? All set position to a pyramid and line position to its operation. So now you're standing on top of the pyramid. See? You're in a tunnel, now you're in a pyramid. Okay? So it's settings all communications. You change the frames every second, every minute, every hour. But it's in the same set location of the same day, in aim position location of system and travel. Now it's a funnel. Okay. So once you understand how to do that, try to structure its design in one setting, not two, not three, not four. You're not drawing four pictures. Okay. The reason why I go picture, so you can lead up to it through its instructions. So when you're in that position locations, let's say, again, you come into all settings, you buy this brand new table, but you have to put it together. Well, to put it together, it has all its parts, right? Connect the settings, break it down. And the next thing you look at the table, how it's created through its design of its holographic set location. Okay? So I wanted to show you how you do these things through the same frame. Now, if you change the different frame, it changes what? The frequency. It changes your space and it changes your time. It changes your parallels. It changes your paradox. It changes your polarities. And it changes your polar shift locations, all through design. So you have to be very cautious in how you set positions of adding frames, because this digital board is its position of its own intelligence. I have to communicate with it first, or you're not going to be able to understand how to communicate with its own design, right? Understanding the GOD of this, understanding the width, okay? Understanding the longitude and latitude, understanding the frame, understanding how it can come off the page, okay? If I set a line calculation and triangulation, right? There's a triangulation there, right? Now, in that line communication, 3 points, 1, 2, 3. Set position and press enter. Watch this. Comes up. You see it? Now it's dangling, right? And I'm going to send it out. Off the page. Turns around by itself. And shows you what I just did. Okay? So if you understand that, I know it's extremely powerful, McCall. And so I really want you guys to get in your structure line, because your presentation is extremely informative when you come into picture frames, because that's what you're doing through the set location lines. So the brain's trying to understand the mainframe, where the mind is trying to understand the navigation, the hardware and software. You put it together, it's a computer, but if the computer doesn't understand the perception, it's all over the coloration and confusion, right? So indaptation line settings, okay? Now, whatever you do, it's your perception, how you see these things through your intent, right? It's your influence. And set a position of track lines, okay? This is all walls. This looks like all scribbly on communication setting of track lines. but I know what it is through set locational line center because it's all balancing communication setting interacts through its core line of high interference and its perception locations of pi. What do you see in there? What do you see in there? What do you see in there? 6 and 9. Okay? You see it? Well, yeah, you can see a bird line calculation setting, but what's the first thing that you look at? The 6 and the 9. The 6. The 6. Okay. And set position locations of the 9. The 9. The 9. The yin and yang. The 6 and the 9. Boom. Okay? Then its intelligence comes in. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. I changed the frame. Oh, it's facing this way. Oh, it's facing this way. Remember the old lady? You see a young lady and an old lady? Perception. Okay? Okay, changing face. Oh, wow, look at this. Changing face. Whoa, what's going on here, right? Changing face. Okay? Setting traction. Everything is done inside of you. Okay? Very powerful stuff. Right? So, 2 planets, indirect signals, 1 traveling through 1 line communications and setting. Okay? Double helix through a galaxy. Okay? See how I changed the frame? Now, if you look really close, you can see next T1000 coming out. See, look. Out of position. Right? Travels out. Okay? So really get into line setting. Try to get into that formation. Try to see yourself through an equation. Try to see yourself, not just the inner child, but know exactly what you're structuring through your intelligence. Keep yourself inside. That's what I mean. Keep yourself in your lanes. Keep yourself in that set location. Keep yourself inside. Don't outline setting. Don't swivel communication outline surface. Don't set emotional line calculations setting offline. Don't track communication and confusion line interference. I'm showing you exactly what it is to design location of line signature stream locations, all levels of position. This is what happens if you don't stay in the center operation of yin and yang. Okay? Stay within the frame. Stay in your own lane. That's what it means. Stay in your own lane. Because if you don't stay in your own lane, intelligence is coming in. They're going to scan your system. Boom. You're coming with me. Boom. Right? There you go. That's what I mean is staying in your own lane. Staying in your own structure of your own design of files. Get in communication with files. There's file here, file here, file here, file here, file here. Okay? There's files, right? That's all levels of you. Now you're looking here line communications. Right? You're storing it through information. Okay, you're storing all those files. That's you, right? So everything's going well. Signature streamlines, line calculation setting, all direct systems. You got file correlations and track lines. It's all in rotation position of all levels. So now you're going to set line communications into its library. Boom. Okay. Signature streamlines, but you realize that 2 line centers is off correlation setting. Where did the 2 track locations come from? Right? And you're going, what is going on here? Right? That's not my file. So you got to delete it and take it out. Boom. Then you add a new frame, line positions to a set location line setting that puts all levels back in formation line, position and travel lines, and all signature stream location to a system. Okay? Then you take all 4 lines in position location to 1 frame. Hooah! Okay? So you got to check the files of you, right? How this all works through provision line connections. Okay? How powerful it is in set position interaction. How you see it through frame by frame by frame. Now you understand the provision, what it is through intelligence. You see it through all calculation of your thought perceptions, but it's all done through frame. Okay? It's all done through frame of travel. Okay? So when that line calculation setting, once you set the frame position, it comes in this set locations. Now, in that line rotations, it comes all this settings. Okay, 4 frames in 1, right? Boom, right? So next D1000 comes in, see what you've done, right? Scans, all 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Scans, right? Picks it up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, picks it up. Where does it go? Back to the moon. Stores the information line screens, puts in line communications into its file, and line position to its traction. Hooah. Now you understand why we have crop circles on the ground? So now we understand a little bit more information location, how line settings come into your XD1000 line. XD1000's lines are just distributors. Okay, that's all they are. That's what you guys are coming into. So it's an X line setting, X right communication, the top rotation of Tango. Travel line, center lines, equal line calculation setting, Merkaba up, Merkaba down, center line rotations, high calculation settings at 1000 line stream location. Transfer correlation setting, position line connection, high setting. Travel position with all levels of operational line surface. Position of files, file here, you got a file here, and you got a file here in position location, right? 3 files, communication line settings. So you're over here in position locations doing this, trying to figure out what you just finished doing. Okay. So this is how it sets position and track lines. Dimensional door lines, streamlines, high calculation allocated line streams. Okay. Opening up the dimensional doors of 3 panels and line rotation at travel set location at 3 lines of graph lines set locations. Okay. Platitude lines of high center interference, changing the frame into box location. Now in that line rotations, you use scan lines, you set position operation settings. This is where you recharge communication. What is recharge? You're recharging your Merkaba and set location of travel. Okay. Very powerful. You change the frames, but you stay in the same structure as design. So the brain is interpreting the line calculation setting in all track location to its magnetic highway information line cycles that sets communication setting in line calculation setting to its position. All levels of operational lines of center line communication setting, all levels of communication to its orb, and line direct signals in position location of its torical fields, and line set location line settings of travel in line rotation of the sun, and the communication line setting high position to its operation surface. Look how powerful that is. Boom. See how I changed the frame? Communication, intelligence, intelligence. See the eyes? Boom. Right? At position location, there's the neck. You're always information of your system, which is you. Okay? Isn't it amazing how powerful you guys are and what you're coming into, all calculation, setting, position, and track lines? So it's important you understand how this is all set up through its own design. Okay? When you're looking at line communication and line settings, here's your computer. That's your computer, right? So your computer is there, okay, and you're here. Okay, your computer's there, you're there, right? So you scan your computer in 3 communication. Right, connects settings, sets up graph lines and communication. So in that line calculation setting, you come in line settings and line rotations, you go inside the computer. Okay, so when you go in lines, you're traveling through set position to a setting location. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 division line settings. Okay, so travels through location grid. Okay, now once you understand the computer operational lines, you go into the circuit pockets. Circuit pockets has its own line calculation setting. This is where your batteries come in. Indirect signal to its location setting. Okay, so really understand how the mechanism line settings high screens these locations. So this is where you guys have to understand how to use your set position, your perceptions, how to go through more communication, the teleportation, streamlines, high calculation, and transformation into set location of your computer. You have to become the frame of its computer. So in the position of a circle, you're looking at communications, okay, and you scan it through line calculation, which is the intelligence in between. Comes out, communicates with you, scans you. Okay. You got the intelligence, you know what it is through frames. This is the intelligence. That's the intelligence right here. That's it there. So in position, it travels here. Right? And then it scans you. And if it likes you in line communication in the frequency pattern, it comes towards you in line direction. Hoo-ah. Ground communications, center line rotations, torical field line rotations, center position operation into your diamond calculation string location of travel settings. Hoo-ah. So in that formation, you travel out and you communicate with it at the same time. This is you, travel communications, communicating with the actual intelligence. Okay. So we all have to get into that. Okay. And that's all formation line settings. Center operation of the computer. Yeah. Computer line settings, high interference. Yeah. Awareness and its alliance. Yeah. The compute system line set locations, Gypsy, is you being aware of everything that you see. Because everything around you is trying to understand you. It's not you trying to understand. They're trying to understand you. Okay. And that's what we're coming into. If you look at like connection high interference of a wall, here's a wall. Okay. And let's say a picture frame. Same locations, here's a picture of somebody. Okay. Now, right away, they're looking at you. So you definitely have to scan your body. So, and that's that location to understand. That's why I don't have frames in my house, because it's, lights in your string locations. I don't need to add frames because I add them on there already. They're already there, right? That's the provision where I see them. So everywhere I go in subposition of my house, I look around and I see the frame. I don't need to add things to a wall. Okay. So in that line calculation setting, you can change the frequencies, but if you're understanding the intelligence, it's going to communicate with you. And it comes out in suppositions, trying to figure who you are, trying to figure who you are, trying to figure who you are in line calculation. Okay. So now you understand the importance of what you guys are coming into line calculation setting of intelligence position and its operation line set location of high setting. So it's more fun when you really understand how to direct your system. You are in control of everything around you. That's everything that's inside you. So whatever you do through adaptation, it's up to you what happens next through interpretation. Because you are the controlling, you are the positions, you are the modulation, you are the director. Okay, so there's three communication. Let's say the box line, center line, interference. Okay, get a correlation settings, interactions, three line communications, right? So you're here, you're in the back seat, but you want to come to the passenger, right? Passengers goes here to here. Now you're the driver, taking over all communication and programs. Okay, you control the system inside and out. So you went from the back seat to the passenger to all side location, driver's seat. So in that line calculation setting, knowing exactly what you're doing with supervision, it's all levels of travel communications. That's all it is. Travel communication. That's all it is. You're just creating holographic of design of you in center communication, all settings. That's all it is. So now you understand the inner child. You got the inner lines. Now we've got one signature pattern, and we got two track locations, and we got an atom. Okay, that's an atom, but it looks like a circle, sir. Well, it's what I perceive what it is. See, you've got to get out of that equation. This is not 1, this is not 2, and this is not position locations, what you think it is. This is not a circle. This is not a no. This is locations of what it is and what I perceive of what it is. You see how you guys get confused anomalies? You got to get out of that equation. All formation lines and location. Now this is 1 million. This is 2,000. And this is 0 operation. You can't see it, but I know what it is through intention. See how I changed that formation? All through a triangulation reset program and a 3-line position locations, all line interference in a 4 communication setting, and all track location of 7. 7 bodies of water, track location, sun comes in, moon comes in, line communication, all of its information of its intelligence. Boom. Intelligence. Right? Intelligence. Okay. So I think we're getting a better understanding now how your nose is a pyramid line calculation setting. And it tracks locations, your mouth is an indicator in set locations. To what? What is it? Position of the Earth. Okay. So if you understand how to set this up, then you understand the travel mechanism line settings is really understand how to use your alphabetical line communication stream. But you've got to get out of those old programs. This is not 1, this is not 2, this is not 3, this is not 4. This is 8, this is 6, this is 3, and this is 2. But you see it as 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's your problem. Right? How you mix these things up is provisions of what? Protecting your system. Yes. Reverse psychology. Line connecting. Of operation. 1, 3, 2, 4. Point. XT1000 comes in. Scans positions, all of the point systems, and all track line connection. Hooah! Picks it up. Routers and routers, line setting, line rotation, and center position and traction. Hooah! Okay, boom. All done my equation. I can set a line calculation another frame. Okay, and set position. See? See how I changed the frame? See how I changed the frame? Okay. And see how the XT1000 travels through right here and set position to its traction? From here to here. Boom. Right through. Right through a black hole. Booah. Okay. So this is the same day, guys. You've got to get in that position of traction. You use your letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols to all line communications, right? Because everything that you do is in frame, a vision, of an image, of a structure, of a design, in position, of operation, inside. Everything's inside you. So you're never outside your system. You stay within the system. The expansion is inside you. And that's going beyond recognition. That's space and time. Okay? Change the frame. Right? Color it in. Add reflection. Add detections. High center line interference. And set locations. Okay? Look at that. Okay, change the color. Add color. Add purple. Okay? Add purple. So I'm adding frame. Change colors, lines, back, and black line rotation. See? Adding frame. So everything I do, what am I doing? I'm changing set position locations of balance. You've got to balance out your parallels of your structures of design. Okay? Comes in all levels of modification of travel calculation settings and traction. See? Boom. Reflections on me on the other line rotations. See, you guys are seeing me from the outside, but I'm inside. You've got to stay inside line conditions of everything at all level settings in track location. All right? See? Now, you look really close, you can see the structure on the other side, right? You can see it moving. It's amazing how you set position track locations. But it's interesting how you see the reflection on me on the other side. One's on the left, and my face recognition is on the right. So when you're seeing reflection, you're seeing left and right, aren't you? Ah, you see me on the left, but you also see me on the right. There's not one provision line connection to the soft calculations. You're always going to see information at all levels of reflection of left and right, of space of view, of time position locations in your masculine and feminine, of your polarities. You're always going to see yourself in mirror resolutions of left and right, or right and left. You see how that works? You're never going to see point system of one line calculation setting. You're always going to see all settings. So you're never going to see me on left side, in position of two frame, position location, and set locations. That's why you're always seeing yourself on left and right set location, of right and left and right. So just showing you how powerful it is, how space and time connects to your system. You're writing sun graph screens. There's a sun graph screen, all right? Setting track lines. Here's the moon line. Okay, there's the moon. There's the dimensional sail and set location, right? XT1000 comes in, scans position locations, center line in center position, right? 4 track locations, sets up all lines of another tube line rotations and set position line connections. See how I changed the frame? See how it changes direction? See how it sets lines of communications of platforms, setting calculation high and interference in the same day, position all levels of set position calculation. See how you change line calculation stream location of settings and all line interference and all position location of a pyramid now and set position to your set location. See how powerful it is? That's how you guys got to get in provision. So when I write signature line streams, don't be gullible. Don't say that this is 1 because it isn't 1. You think it's 1. It's not 1. It's 7,000. 1 equals 7,000 because I know what 7,000 means. So the 7,000 are 2 track locations. Provision cycles, setting line connections. 4 to 5 line rotations into platforms of communication of files and 4 generation string location of settings and track location. That's what it is. But you think it's a 1. Do you understand the situation, what we're coming into? Do you understand how powerful it is when you just really release these line calculation setting in that set location, right? So when somebody says something in that track locations, right away you listen to that, and that's what you see the formation. But hold on a sec, I have my own imagination. So if I have my own imagination, it could be anything through equation, right? Anything through equation. Is this a box? No, you think it's a box because that's all you see. It's not a box, is it? Right? It's a solar generator, line communication lines, a high line rotation interference, high track location system, and a mix of stream location line centers of 4 track locations through a location grid. That's what it is. But you see it as a box. See what I'm saying? So more than meets the eye, that's exactly what it is, Heather. So it's all dimensional lines of your space and time. And what you get in the setting line interference, when you want to change the frame, you have to add the sun and the moon because it protects the file of its image, of its correlation, of its structure, of its design. And then you move on to the next. You move on to the next. You move on to the next. Okay, you move on to the next. Okay, you move on to the next. Okay, that's what you do. But it's always, always inside of you. So when I say to stay in your own lanes, stay within your own structure of design. It's kind of like you have a folder. This is your folder communications. That's your folder, right? That's your folder, right? So 2 provisions are off, 3 line centers are not in calculations, and 4 channels are not in vision, right? So you have to go through line calculations to the files. Center lines of corner, corner, set position of corner, corner, right? So in that side line connecting center interference, you take the position locations, you find the 2, you take it out of the equation, you look at it, and you bring it in position to its location. You scan it in. Line signatures to streams aren't mine, taking that out of the equation, bye-bye, into the reclamation bin. Okay? So, scanning provisions is extremely important. Now, if anything, line calculation setting is really understanding one track location, but bringing it up closely of what it is. Okay? Because the one line center line interference is 0, 1 through number sequence. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, 6 in question mark communications and setting. Question marks on the top. Got 3 weather line rotation settings in the Fibonacci line swirl and subsystem travel. So this is this up close through numbers. And it comes into laser. And then it comes into coil resistors. Okay? So this is this up close. You understand? So that's how this all works. Don't see it for this, see it for this. That's where you got to scan. And when you scan, you bring it in. And when you bring it in, you bring it into space and time through the sun and through the moon. Okay? The sun and moon is there. See, here's the moon. But the sun's there. So the moon has its light, but it's a moonlight. Okay? The sun has its projection, but it's light. Okay? Of its holographic stream. There's the moon. Boom. So that's how you see the moon at night. Hoo-ah! Woo! That's how you see the moon like that. The sun and the moon are together. Okay? Look really close. You can see the pyramid. Boom. Right? XT1000 comes out, line position. XT1000 comes out, position, line connection. Okay? Scan your system. Scan your system. Set position of operation. Okay? Platitude line interference and high calculations. That's right, Tina. When Tina came in, lines of 5-year line rotations, send in position track lines, she came in position of grounds, powers, and atmospheres. And I told her to wait 60 seconds if she's going to record a device line and location of the atmosphere line. Because the XT1000 comes in and scans you for 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, you can do any line communications, because when you're recording device lines, you're getting in communication. But you got to stand still for 60 seconds. Okay? So it's very powerful when you come to that, right? But now you understand why you see the moon at night. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you, General. Oh, you're welcome. Right? Now, in line calculation setting, wherever you go, it moves over line position. And it faces the opposite direction. It has to. So it has to switch. So it's a dimensional switch automatically. It switches because you're going to the other side, which is the right side, which is the Earth side, not the space side. Space side is left. That's never going to change. And the right side is Earth. So in track location setting, all line rotation position locations comes in all signal with high calculation setting. In this track to its communication. All right? Because it's in higher lines of space and line rotations. All right? This is the moon when you go to the other side line communication, all setting. All travel position, location, and system. Boom! Okay? Now you understand the importance of how you see the moon in this traction, how you see the moon in that traction, the location all over the Earth, line communication in space, how you just moved over. So in position line conditions, that's what it is. So wherever you go, the sun and the moon goes. So you're here, right? And you got the communication of the sun coming in, this line calculation, right? But the sun and the moon are in this position location track line connections. Yeah. Ooh, what's going on here? Ooh. So you got a scan lines, a 3-line position of center, right? Because it's setting up a weather pattern, line rotations, weather communication setting that comes into correlation. Indirect location, this is where the clouds change. in line position to your system. Atmosphere lines of change. Woohoo! Wow, look at that. All position, location, your sun and your moon. All right, so now you understand the importance. So wherever you go, the sun and the moon goes with you. Right? Direct signal. Okay, wherever you go. Right? Sun and the moon. Right? You go over here, changes over here. You can't get rid of it because it's in position. So it's amazing when you see these things through traction, right? So the ground lines changes every time you move. Particle set lines calculation of center line communication changes line communication to travel lines and high center interference and high position location is operation. Okay, so your pyramids move in track location and 3-line calculation setting. Crossing line stream location of setting locations. Setting track to its communication setting into its pyramid line rotation center and interference and track communications and all levels of high position line centers and high calculation setting interference, all levels of high center interference of travel. Intelligence. Okay, transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots. And if you look really close, you can see the spaceship line connection. See it? Boom. Scan settings, adding frame, adding frame, adding frame. Set position operation. Okay. So it's amazing how you do these things to track locations, guys. Now you understand the provisional line connection, what the sun and the moon does. It creates its own solar sail. Right? That's how it moves. Right? It rotates with you. So clouds are indicators. Clouds are indicators. Right? Correlate high interference, balance, position, attraction. Right? So in that line communication setting, change the graphical screen location setting and attractions. Right? Each cloud line has a file line rotation center. Okay? Files, 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 files. Right? Position location all through a cloud. Okay? So now you understand a little bit more how a service communication setting when you're recharging line calculations at night. Your eyes are always open. Your eyes are never shut. Your mind is always open. Your mind never shuts down. It's always traveling. You have to learn how to control your space that's in between through track locations of inner and outer light position of travel. Pyramid lines, because you're working with the perceptions. Laser direct signal location. Travel position lines, cross line stream locations. Okay, cross line stream locations. Okay. So you have to really understand how to use it through your Merkaba or your orbs or your generations or your torical fields or your atoms and set location of travel setting. How you can go through structure location of 3-line rotations, travel positions, add a platform. Here's a dimensional door. Boom. Okay. Travel back line settings and travel communication on platforms. Direct location, X3000 comes in. Then you see yourself coming out. This is you coming out. The more you get into your imaginations, the more you see your multiple levels of yourself. Okay. Travel communications, adding platform. Okay. Sending track lines. Platform. Right. Crosses down. Right. Back into the atom. Boom. Okay. So really get into your imagination. Right. And the X8000 comes in and scans what you just finished doing through center operation. Once it's done, align interference, the structure disappears. So that's why we have X3000s, because you're going too fast in the line interference. So you can't leave anything behind. It picks it up right away in the line position locations and teleports it in set position to its operation. Okay, look how powerful it is. Boom. Okay. Very powerful, isn't it? It's incredible. So roll forward, backwards, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Woohoo! But I'm just showing you through provision line conditions how it becomes extremely real through drawings. You guys have to really get into your phenomenal line set locations. Don't limit to anything. And anybody that comes in your line interference and they say that's a number 1, that's not a 1. Because that's all they know. That's not a 1. That's a frame. That is a frame. And you say, General, how are you telling me that this number 1 is a frame? Because that's how I perceive my dimension, location of space and time. Going way beyond the phenomenal line position of channel string locations, right? It's a frame. That's all it is. It's a frame. It's a window frame. That's all it is. But you see it as 1. You see how you guys are off course? Track to its correlation settings of 4 lines and position location of 2 lines. That's 4 lines of communication and 2 centers, right? And 3 indication. 1, 2, 3. 3-point systems, right? So equals lines of calculations of 4 equals lines of 3. 3 equals lines of 7. Woohoo! Travel recognition line settings. Woohoo! Travel line set location security. Okay? So framework of core lines. Yeah. Merkaba activated to the highest. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the highest formation line settings, but I want you guys to get out of your position and track lines and set position locations. Don't get into the number frames. Get into its dimensional of its intelligence frame. Okay? Because your calculation settings to God particles, your immortal communications, your galactic 101s, your rebellions, your Federation communication setting is all the same thing. Is travel records of time, no space. How to go through its triangulation, reset position of programs, or anything line communication settings. See, that's 3/4. Where's the 3/4? But to you, it looks like a house. It's not a house, right? I say what it is. Okay? Just because you perceive something doesn't mean that's what it is. That's confusing through separation of communication. Triangulation of 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. 3 settings. 1, 2, 3. 3 files. Okay, there's 3 files into 4 track locations. Boom. So that's 3/4. 4 equals pi. Center lines of 7. See how that works? You see how that works? How you turn position of a number into a shape into 3/4? Okay? Frequency of God, particles inside all of us. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Everything that's inside location in your systems, right? Now you can do that through letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols. But because you guys are going to higher lines of coloration, you've got to stay in your lines of communication with yourself and each other. Do not go out of position. Stay within the center. Stay within the center. Stay within the center of structure, of design, of face recognition. Right? Because the sun will not come to you. The moon will not come to you until you understand your design. You're creating the design. The sun and the moon comes in line position locations, knows exactly what you just finished doing through its equation. All right? Now, once you get in that position location, you can change the center correlation and track to its communication. Okay? Track to its communication. Okay? Track to its communication. Track to its communication. Okay? Track to its communication. Track to its communication. Okay? And so this is how you all have to form. This is how you guys have to come together now. So when you're drawing a structure of design, it's your intention what it is. People have to get out of the concept line calculations of their program settings. Really understand that you can go limitless, formless, shapeless, and timeless in all lines of all location to all levels of formation. It is what it is, and that's what it is that position to its operation. Because you are controlling everything that's inside, that's controlling everything of its outside location. But see, everything inside and outside is everything inside. There's no outside of anything. So it's the inner line and the outer lines of space. Inner space, outer space. That's all it is. You got to balance out, not the inner line, you have to balance out the outer line. Because things are coming at you, face recognition. Okay? So, very powerful what we're coming into. Okay? Any questions or comments? Let me know. Everything's done in an equation line interference. That's more levels of communication of a memory line. But the position of track lines is really understand how to get into all communications and not see yourself through just one structure of design. Keep it in one frame and change the frames through frequency and vibrations and energy. Change the intelligence, all communications, right? Try to understand how to travel through a one-line setting. One line, one line, one line, one line, right? Doesn't look like much, but it's a position of intelligence. Travel through this, 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 and this, and this, this. There it is. Boom, right? So in that lines, when you're in position locations and you don't want to change anything, XT1000 comes in, scans the position of what you just did through center, picks it up, picks it up, picks it up, and teleports it. Okay? You can't leave anything to chance. There's a reason why we have set line calculation into XT1000's line streams, interlocation of structure lines. So that is stored in your mainframe. Okay? So the brain understands the conversion. You're good to go through cerebro. Your placebo line connection, your cortex line settings, puts positions of location in your system's attraction. So now you understand why you have XT1000 line streams. What do? They pick up the map coordinates of your structure of design, right? And it goes back to the moon line rotation in your setting. All right. But you have a storing information of a line calculation to its mainframe that sets its position to its files, which is your library or your archive or your folder. It's that location. So you draw the structure, all right, and the XT1000 picks it up and teleports it. Hoo-ah, right? You can't leave anything on the ground setting, okay? There's a reason why, because there's a frequency lines of change. Now it changes the parallels, changes the paradigms, the polar shifts, the polarities, the paradigms, right? Changes your space and time, position, location, calculation, stream locations. That's why you can't leave anything of design. That's why you have a mainframe. It's that position, it's operation surface, okay? So yes, it's a map. But your map constantly changes. There's a reason why, because your frequencies are changing. There's a reason why, because your thoughts are always changing. Your thoughts are never the same. Your body's never the same. Your consciousness is never the same. Nothing is the same. It's going too fast. So if you understand how to balance this out through the mind of conception, of navigation, of your space and of your time and your clocking, you're good to go. All through set location. Okay? That's what you guys have to get into provision to understand how to do structures of design. It's very powerful when you set position locations, how to do structures of design. Okay? All through clocking. Okay? But it's inside. Nothing's outside. Do you see anything outside? Do you see anything outside? No. Everything's inside, isn't it? Shading in the lines, right? Now, if it calls for that, you have to communicate with the paper. You have to communicate with the lines. You have to communicate with the grids. Yes, there's box line grids. Every paper line has points. Every paper line has dots. Every paper line have grids. Every paper line have boxes. You have to communicate with everything and all online communications all at once. Okay? All right, so there's set high line settings and all track communication setting that travels all through design. Face recognition. Okay? So I think we're good. You guys are getting a better understanding how you have to go beyond the line settings and really get into your adaptation surface, right? This is going to help you in your positioner structures, especially when you correlate the line positions here travels with your inner child. Set locations, because there's nothing you can't create in the mind. So when somebody comes up to you and say that's a 1, that's not a 1. You just see it as a 1. That's limited information of data. So you just set position location in 1 million track line connection to 1 line center and 0 line interference back in 1 communication through pi. But to them, it's just a 1. See? You see the process when you get to a higher acceleration lines of space and time to position location your structures? This is what you guys are coming into, especially when you get to higher communication, your high settings. It's all levels of balancing out your space and how fast you're going in set locations. Okay? All right. See you in 5. Adios. You.